We have seen Cory Booker go through many transformations when it comes down to slavery and reparations. Now, never forget when he made his first appearance on The Breakfast Club after announcing his run for the presidency. He laughed, he didn't take it seriously. Never forget, he said we need to put ourselves in white people's position when it comes down to blackface. And then he claimed he had a remedy for reparations and baby bonds for everybody. That's supposed to be a remedy for reparations, you know. So he done went through many different transitions in a very short period of time, which is why I don't trust Cory Booker. So his latest attempt at reparations is just recently, in fact, today. Cory Booker introduces Senate bill on slavery reparations. Trust me, there's no check, ladies and gentlemen. There's no check. So let's get into this. So today, on Monday, Cory Booker introduced a bill that would study the possibility of reparations for descendants of slaves, embracing a push that recently has caught the interest of fellow 2020 Democratic presidential candidates. The senator from New Jersey said Monday that this bill is a way of addressing head on the persistence of racism, white supremacy, and implicit racial bias in our country. It will bring together the best minds to study the issue and propose solutions that will finally begin to right the economic scales of past harms and make sure we are a country where all dignity and humanity is affirmed. The measure is a Senate champion to the bill introduced in the House of Representatives in January by Rep. Sheila Jackson Lee of Texas, which, if passed into law, would set up a commission to study the impact of slavery and continued discrimination against Black Americans and recommendations on reparation proposals for the descendants of slaves. The legislation was first introduced 30 years ago by then Rep. John Conyers of Michigan. Since slavery in this country, we have had overt policies fueled by white supremacy and racism that have oppressed African Americans economically for generations, Booker added. Many of our bedrock uh, domestic policies that have ushered millions of Americans into middle class have systematically excluded blacks through practices like the GI Bill, discrimination, and redlining, which redlining is still actually going on. Besides Booker, the idea of slavery reparations for Black Americans is at least partially backed by at least eight other Democratic presidential contenders. They are Senator Kamala Harris of California. Yeah, remember her Uplift program, Uplift Everybody? Yeah, that's not reparations. Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts, remember she wanted to make sure the Indians get reparations too, and they've already gotten it. Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont, remember he doesn't want us to have any money because he's more interested in keeping us as the underclass in America. We'll give you programs, but go somewhere and shut up about everything else. Former San Antonio Mayor Julian Castro, yes, he talked about slavery, reparations, but offered no plan. So you can't trust that, who served as housing secretary under President Obama, South Bend, Indiana Mayor Pete But Buttigieg. I don't know. I don't care either. He didn't introduce no plan. Um, Representative Beto O'Rourke of Texas, who was against reparations and now he's for reparations, no plan. Tulsi Gabbard of Hawaii. I haven't seen any plan. I saw something online, but not really a plan, in my opinion. And businessman and entrepreneur Andrew Yang. Again, no plan. Several of them asked specifically about Jackson Lee's reparation bill during a conference last week of Al Sharpton's National Action Network. The push by the Democratic White House hopeful points to the future importance of race and identity issues within the party. Yet, while supporters say reparations are needed to address slavery and racist aspects of American history, critics claim such a move could cost several $trillions without solving the issue of racism. I don't care what critics say. Critics need to go somewhere and sit down. And if racism need to be resolved, you need to start with the group that started this whole thing in the first place. That's who you go resolve it with. Don't bother black people with that mess. We didn't start it, and we are not the ones to fix it. But I don't think Corey is saying anything that we haven't heard before. How many damn studies do you need on slavery anyway? Seriously, all these bills, let's study racism, let's study white supremacy, let's study racial bias. Why? Why? You know it exists, right? How much studying do you have to do? This is ridiculous with these damn candidates, y'all. I'm going to go ahead and play the video.
We have never been bereft of bigotry and hatred and demagoguery in our country. Never, ever been without it. And people who want to try to create some kind of Disneyland history of our country demean the greatness of this country when they don't point to the wretchedness and the pain that we all had to overcome. The reasons I'm running is because of this. We all know that it wasn't a bunch of men that came together in the early 1900s and huddled on the Senate floor and said, guys, fellas, it's time to give those women the right to vote. No, that's not how we got suffrage. Change doesn't come from Washington, it comes to Washington. By active, by engaged, by courageous Americans who have always bent the arc of this nation's course. I'm going to release the email about racial profiling, and I understand that the penalty comes with potential ousting from the Senate. And if Senator Cornyn believes that I violated Senate rules, I openly invite and accept the consequences. This is about the closest I'll probably ever have in my life to an I am Spartacus moment. So I'm all for legalizing marijuana. I have the premier bill in the Senate to do it. We have got to be about restorative justice here. And that's why this bill takes the big step of trying to make sure that as we move as a society to make a change and end this part of the war on drugs, we need to understand that this was a war on people, and there are casualties who are still suffering for lifetime sentences. I'm looking to unite Americans in this race because I believe we have more in common than divides us. I believe that this reflexive partisanship is undermining our ability to find common ground and get common sense things done. We right now agree on enough to make big changes in America, to drive down healthcare costs, to drive up student achievement, to fix our infrastructure, to provide better education, to make us safer. I'm running for president now because I believe in America there is so much common pain, but we've lost that sense of common purpose. That now more than ever, we need a revival of civic grace. We need a more courageous empathy. We need to be a nation that puts more indivisible back into this one nation under God.
Since 2002, Booker's received $35,000 in donations from Bain Capital employees and $500,000 from other Wall Street interests.
This is America. We know our history. This is a time to stand up, to speak up, to rise up. Because when we stand as Americans, when we join together and fight together and work together, no filibuster can stop us. We ushered in civil rights, women's rights, workers' rights. And in this era, if we organize again, we are going to bring a progressive agenda to this country and move it forward for everyone, no matter who's in the Senate.
Now that we listen to Cory Booker's word salad, just understand what he is introducing, y'all, is not anything more than just a study. Okay? It is nothing but a study. He's not doing anything about reparations at all. This is just more of the same when it comes down to studying reparations. So that's all I want you to know. We
have never been bereft of.
It's nothing to get excited over. It's just another component of Sheila Jackson Lee's bill, which we know does not remedy the situation with ADOS or Tangibles 2020. Is just a bunch of people coming together to study it, which I don't see why all of that is necessary, because we all know racism still exists. It's a generational thing. We know it's been going on for centuries. We know that we are still the underclass in America. We know that none of these politicians care enough to do anything about it. They're running for office and they have to give you the illusion of doing something about the disparities that are going on. But nothing real big here. All fluff, y'all. But please tell me what you think. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.